Well, that's all the time we had for you on today's program. Feel free to get in touch with me and some of the team on social media. I'm on X at Odhiamboroda, and don't forget to tag at BBC Africa. We'll see you tomorrow.
It's 6 p.m. in London. This is The World Today with Maryam Moshiri. The desperate search for survivors after floods kill more than 1,100 people across Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. President Zelensky meets Emmanuel Macron ahead of crucial US-Russia talks. The Ukrainian leader says Moscow must not be rewarded for its war in Ukraine. US lawmakers demand answers from the Trump administration over military strikes on suspected drug boats in Venezuelan waters. Also coming up on The World Today, BBC Panorama investigates the hidden forever chemicals that are linked to cancer and infertility. Hello and welcome to The World Today on BBC News. Across vast areas of Southeast Asia, the true scale of a major flooding disaster is becoming ever clearer after separate weather systems brought record rainfall. More than 1,100 people have been killed, and a desperate hunt for food, water and survivors is ramping up. Still to come on The World Today. The Pope has prayed for peace in Lebanon and the region on day 2 of his trip to the country. Australia is banning social media for children under 16. We look at how it could work. Around the world and across the UK, this is The World Today on BBC News. The Pope has prayed for peace in Lebanon and the wider region on day 2 of his trip to the country. Our Middle East correspondent Hugo Bachega has the very latest from Beirut. See what we did there? Shepherd him into some sand dunes. Buddy is now safely back in his stables in North Wales. All's well that ends well. You're watching The World Today on BBC News. This is The World Today on BBC News, and these are the latest headlines. The desperate search for survivors after floods kill more than 1,100 people across Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. President Zelensky meets Emmanuel Macron ahead of crucial US-Russia talks. The Ukrainian leader says Moscow must not be rewarded for its war in Ukraine. US lawmakers demand answers from the Trump administration over military strikes on suspected drug boats in Venezuelan waters. And stay with us this hour as we reveal 2025's Word of the Year, according to the Oxford Dictionary. Now, though, let's turn to our top story here in the UK. In the last couple of hours, the chairman for the Office of Budget Responsibility, Richard Hughes, has resigned to allow the watchdog to quickly move on from the leak of the budget. The OBR chief called the mistake a technical but serious error. Still to come on The World Today. Australia is banning social media for children under 16. We look at how it might work. And the Oxford Dictionary has released its Word of the Year for 2025, and it's going to make you rage. Around the world and across the UK, this is The World Today on BBC News. Let's return to that social media ban for under 16s in Australia. From December the 10th, social media companies will have to take reasonable steps to ensure that children under the age of 16 in Australia can't set up accounts on their platforms and that existing accounts are deactivated or removed. Well, I mean, I've got to say, Riz and Lila both look fantastic as well, and they are very comfortable in that environment of those Fashion Awards 2025. And as I mentioned earlier on, or at least they mentioned earlier on, there are stars, Hollywood stars, fashion glitterati, models, all sorts arriving. You can watch those celebrities arriving at the top of the special live page and, of course, the BBC iPlayer. Lila and Riz are going to be outside there reporting on the events going on tonight for the next hour or so, I think. So if you are into fashion and you want to know what the A-listers are wearing, you're more than welcome to go and keep watching the wonderful Riz and Lila. But for those of you here watching me, you have been watching The World Today on BBC News. I'm back at the top of the hour with the latest headlines. So do stay with us on BBC News, but bye-bye for now. It's 7 p.m. in London. This is The World Today with Maryam Moshiri. The chair of the Office for Budget Responsibility resigns after it released details of the budget before the Chancellor announced them. The desperate search for survivors after floods kill more than 1,100 people across Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. President Zelensky meets Emmanuel Macron ahead of crucial US-Russia talks. The Ukrainian leader says Moscow must not be rewarded for its war in Ukraine. US lawmakers demand answers from the Trump administration over military strikes on suspected drug boats in Venezuelan waters. Also coming up on The World Today, BBC Panorama investigates the hidden forever chemicals that are linked to cancer and infertility. And we are live, bringing you the latest glitz and glamour from the British Fashion Awards. We begin with the main news here in the UK. The head of the Office for Budget Responsibility has this evening resigned after the whole budget was leaked before the Chancellor had even got to her feet in the Commons. Richard Hughes had been in charge for 5 years. Rachel Reeves has thanked him for his public service. Still to come on The World Today, the Pope has prayed for peace in Lebanon and the wider region on day 2 of his trip to the country. Australia is banning social media for children under 16. We look at how it could work. Around the world and across the UK, this is The World Today on BBC News. President Zelensky has said Russia must not be rewarded for invading Ukraine and that his priorities during peace talks are maintaining sovereignty and ensuring strong security guarantees.
BBC News.
Well, that panorama is on BBC's iPlayer and also on BBC One at 8 p.m. this evening. You're watching The World Today on BBC News, and these are the headlines. The chair for the Office for Budget Responsibility resigns after it released details of the budget before the Chancellor announced them. Keir Starmer defends his Chancellor and that budget amid claims she misled the public about the state of the UK's finances. The desperate search for survivors after floods kill more than 1,100 people across Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. President Zelensky meets Emmanuel Macron ahead of crucial US-Russia talks. The Ukrainian leader says Moscow must not be rewarded for its war in Ukraine. And the biggest night in UK fashion returns to the Royal Albert Hall. We'll bring you the latest from the red carpet at the Fashion Awards. US lawmakers are pressing the Trump administration for answers about military strikes on suspected Venezuelan drug boats after a report alleged that a follow-up strike was ordered to kill survivors of an initial attack to comply with Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth's orders to kill everybody on board. Around the world and across the UK, this is The World Today on BBC News. London Fashion Awards are taking place at the Royal Albert Hall this evening, and our very own Riz Lateef and Lila Parsons are there, and guess what? They've managed to grab pop star Kylie Minogue. Let's have a listen.
You can't remember what you done yesterday on that device.
John Staines there. Now, it's one of the glitziest nights for British fashion tonight, and top models, designers, celebrity guests and Hollywood stars are attending the annual British Fashion Awards in London's Royal Albert Hall. Now, a little earlier, we saw Kylie Minogue live on the red carpet talking to our very own Riz Lateef and Lila Parsons. But earlier still, they spoke to Coleman Domingo, the presenter of the awards tonight. Here's what he had to say. Now, before we go, First Lady Melania Trump has unveiled this year's White House Christmas decorations. Have a look at this. The theme is Home is Where the Heart Is. The decorations include a painting depicting the assassination attempt on President Trump in Pennsylvania in 2024, and also White House made entirely of gingerbread in the state dining room. Decorations include 51 Christmas trees, 75 wreaths, 25,000 feet of ribbon and 2,000 strands of light. Sounds like my house. And here in London, the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, turned the lights on in Downing Street, the Christmas tree there. Now, we were hearing that the Christmas tree was donated, as it always is and has been since 1979, by the BCTGA of Great Britain. And this particular one is from Leicestershire. There you go, a Christmas tree farm in Leicestershire. Don't I have all the best details for you? Yes, I do. That's it for The World Today. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Hello. Whereas yesterday we had plenty of dry weather and sunshine,